Werden geht die Distanz Best of 11 Legs. 6 Legs braucht man also, um in die nächste Runde einzuziehen. Und der Caller dieser ersten Partie ist George Noble.
Well, the boys certainly are back in town. The likes of Michael Van Gerwen, Peter Wright, Dave Chisnell, Menzo Suljovic, Simon Whitlock, all to come this evening here at the German Darts Championship as the second round reaches its conclusion. We will kick off though with a match between the world number 5 James Wade and a man who's been doing some damage away from the big stage, Darren Johnson. We'll hear more about that in a moment, but it's absolutely bouncing here at Halle 39. And joining me to talk you through the first match of the evening session here at the German Darts Championship is none other than the voice of European Tour Darts, the Midlands mouth, Dan Darts Dawson.
Wow, what a build-up. What a build-up. It's one I can't live up to. The boys are back in town, as you say, most notably perhaps George Noble, who decided to have the afternoon off. He's crawled off his deathbed to come and call some games of darts, and if I were George Noble, I'd do the same, because with the lineup we've got this evening, it could be a bit special.
First leg, Darren to throw first. Game on.
Yeah, what a trooper, and what a trooper Russ Bray was this afternoon, stepping in, doing all 8 matches in George's absence, allowing the puppy to make his recovery.
95.
Trip to the vet.
Yeah, that was one sick puppy earlier on.
Well, he's taking the lead this evening, Dan, and here we go. James Wade against Darren Johnson, and I did mention
100.
he's a man who's been doing some damage. Well, back in Barnsley where he's from, but he's made his way into the second round on the big stage here too.
Yeah, won his first round game against Robert Allenstein.
140.
Allenstein, tomato. Let's just beat him 6-1, which is exactly what Darren Johnson did with a very strong display. 97 average, but that's very strong from James Wade with the first 180 of the evening session. If you weren't around this afternoon, we had 8 games. The first 8 second round matches. Like Christo Reyes, Kim Huybrecht, Stephen Bunting, Alan Norris, the defending champion, all making it through. As Wade looks to leave himself 81.
100.
Has to settle for 1-2-1. Johnson down to a finish, but it's a massive one. And it's not going to go. So Wade will have an opportunity to get the first leg and a break of throw.
Two of the 8 seeded players in action this afternoon. Only Michael Smith was a casualty. Jan Decker doing the job on Bully Boy. Now this is a James Wade type finish, but it's not going to go this time, so Johnson will get a shot at 107, but
97.
he will need to take it out to Hull.
You require 107.
A man, yeah, he could do it, yeah, he could. A man fresh from a final a couple of weeks ago.
87. You require 24.
Looks inevitable from there.
Shots in the first leg.
And James Wade starts off with a 14-dart leg. It's a break of throw, puts him 1-0 up on Dynamite. Darren Johnson. Yeah, you said he was doing some damage. That was a run to the final for Darren Johnson. Now, I know, you look at all these floor events, and you do see surprise runs to the quarters, semis, and occasionally finals. Occasionally you see surprise winners. We saw Rob Cross go and win his first one as Johnson
140.
settles for the ton 40. And sometimes draws can open up for you. You know, you might find that the seeded player goes out early. You maybe take out somebody in the top 32, and it sort of parts, and you're beating
100.
lots of players who are good players and everything playing all right, but you're perhaps avoiding some of the top boys. Not him, not that day. It was unreal.
140.
Let me just run through who he beat.
Please do.
Dave Chisnell, heard of him? Biggest 180 to win one at World Darts. Raymond van Barneveld, 5-time world champion.
60.
Heard of him? Benito van der Pas, made 5 finals on the Players' Championship Series last year, won 3 of them. And Michael Van Gerwen, no less.
140.
And it was darts like this, 3 consecutive ton 40s from Darren Johnson, that propelled him into his first final in PDC darts. It's the first time he'd made the quarters in 6 years.
100.
An absolutely special day for the man from Mexborough.
And he's carrying on where he left off. Look at this, a potential 11 darter to break. It is an 11 darter to break.
Darren Johnson. Third leg, Darren to throw first. Game on.
Noisy in here already in Halle 39. The German crowd enjoying their little hello upstairs, hello downstairs chant. And at the end of this, they give themselves a big clap. It's the friendliest chant I've ever seen at a sporting event.
There we go.
There we go, see? Oh, we're having a lovely time. And at Ali Pally, and they just end up slagging each other off. Boring tables, feed the stands. Here, it's hello, hello. And you get a clap at the end. And stand up if you love the darts. I love the Euro Tour.
There's 2,500 of them down there having the time of their lives.
137.
Hildesheim played host to the very last European Tour event of 2016 when Alan Chuck Norris made off with a title. He's having to defend it pretty early. I remember that happening to James Wade once when he won the Masters, and then he won it in September and they put it in January the next year.
140.
Healthy for a grand total of 3.5 months.
Just the way the cookie crumbles.
140. 120.
Firing in the ton 40s.
Yeah, could it be a third straight break of throw? Because this is a James Wade finish. You need the ball though. Well, he would hope to be back.
141.
Yes, he would certainly hope, and now he's sure. And with James Wade, I'd go 99% certain he's going to look at 5 for double 10 in this situation.
I'd say 101% certain. 200%.
In charge in the third leg, James Wade.
You know what? I would have been around that, certain that he'd hit it as well.
Fourth leg, James to throw first.
Doesn't miss it very often.
So break, break, break. Wade won one of these events last year. He won the European Darts match play, beating Michael van Gerwen in the semi-finals and Chisnell in the final.
140.
He also reached the final of the Grand Slam and the Shanghai Masters. Look at this for a start. Expect excellence this evening.
More excellence.
180.
Well, Darren Johnson, in his 6-1 win yesterday against Allenstein, averaged just under 98, and we thought, hey, that's good performance. It would surprise us if Darren Johnson was to go and put in a big ton-plus average here, because he's not suggested that he's likely to do that on a big stage. It's not as if he's got a great deal of European Tour experience. Got all sorts of experience on floor events. I mean, he's been playing for years and years and years, but usually he's like a Wigan boomerang, has to go back to Wigan every couple of years for Q School to get his card back, which he inevitably does. Trouble 17, well, he doesn't need to go there and fit, so single one, we'll leave him tops.
81.
Yeah, played his first PDC event in 04. He's had a tour card since 2013, but as you said, he's had to keep going back and regaining it. In fact, he first got his tour card in 2011, but then he had a couple of years without. He's had one since 2013, and Wade loves tops and tens.
20. And you require 146.
Well, not going to be able to take out the 146, and Wade with 3 darts in his hand looking at his favourite double, you kind of expect this is going to be 3-1. Inside. Last dart in hand.
Charge in the full
James Wade does open up that little bit of daylight.
To throw first. Game on.
Well, his form this year has been kind of indifferent, James Wade. He's played in 12 tournaments aside from the Premier League, and he's only reached the quarterfinals in 3 of those. So for a man who is 5th in the world rankings, you'd expect perhaps a slightly better strike rate than that. But the players are just feeding their way into the new season, I guess. And he's certainly in contention for the Premier League playoffs.
100.
Well, Alright, all players in contention. I mean, any of them could make it, but Dave Chisnell's slightly adrift, isn't it? The bottom at 8th place.
He's going to need one of those runs like Raymond van Barneveld put together when he went on to win the Premier League. And look, Chizzy's capable of doing it, but it's very, very tough, isn't it?
We're going to see Dave Chisnell here next.
So what kind of form he's in?
100.
Looking pretty good for James Wade right now, though.
Certainly a part of his game that he's improved over the last couple of years, James Wade. The 180s, the power scoring, as we call it.
Well, I think he's had to, and I don't subscribe to this opinion that he does not score heavily enough to win major tournaments. Admittedly, there are other players who do score more heavily than him, but it's not about scoring, it's about winning legs. And James Wade is quite capable of putting in an 11-12 darter when he really needs to. In fact, he's one of the best in the world at it. Not going to be a 12 darter here, but then again, doesn't need to be, because he'll just set it up and come back. Johnson's not on a finish, and a 13, 14 or 15 dart break of throw is perfectly fine for James Wade. He's not a numbers man, he doesn't care about averages.
He's a great last dart in hand finisher as well, isn't he, James Wade? We saw that in the previous leg. He could be up to it again here. Now this time he goes out to double 10 with a second dart in the visit. But if you think about averages, if you're going to the board with a double and you miss twice and then hit once, then your average is going to go down a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, Phil Taylor, you know, when he was setting all those records, playing in his pomp in sort of 2008-9,
150.
a lot of it was down to the fact that he'd get down to a double, he's under no pressure, and he'd take it out first dart. So if you're doing a 13 darter instead of a 15 darter, it doesn't really matter as opposed to your opponent, because they're not coming back to the board whether you take it in 13, 14 or 15 darts. But Taylor would take it out in 13 darts, and that is a much higher average than the 15 darter. So instead of averaging 100, he'd be averaging 108, say, or 111, sometimes more.
Look here, exactly 100 for this pair. He plonks one in the tray, but he'll keep that going.
60.
You've let us down, Darren. Well, look at the difference in the first 9.
That's crucial, isn't it? I mean, Johnson's averaging 99, 100, but he's only had one dart at double, and that's keeping that average artificially high, if you like. Wade is outscoring him, getting down there. He's missing a few darts at double, which is dragging his overall average down, but ultimately he's controlling legs, and he's controlled most of that. Apart from that 11 darter in the second leg for Johnson, he is controlling this game.
Looks comfortable. Winner faces Ian White, who survived a bit of a scare this afternoon, didn't he? Ian White went down to a last leg decider against John Bulls, who was sitting on top when White landed a 98 finish.
60. requires 75.
Yeah, highest finish of the match from Ian White. It was a very impressive finish in a rather mediocre performance, but this is not mediocre from James Wade. It's just very James Wade-like, you have to say, wading his way towards the last 16. I'll tell you what, I'll highlight why 60. I don't believe James Wade needs to be throwing as many 180s as other players, because I think he just takes out the important shots, and he might be about to throw in a fourth 180 here.
140.
He made the final of the Grand Slam last year, and going into the final had not thrown a single 12-dart leg.
100.
Well, that's the 100th 180. Oh, he's not happy about it. This is something new in his game, actually, James Wade.
The face pulling.
Yeah.
The gurning.
125.
If you said to Darren Johnson before this match, you're going to average around 100 and have a 100% checkout success rate, I think he'd have bitten your hand off.
I think he'd assume he'd be coming back tomorrow. Doesn't look likely at the minute.
140.
It's another ton 40 to really pile the pressure on Johnson. It has to go. Treble 17 for Bull. And it's not going to go. And James Wade, a 96 checkout. He can do it in 2 darts. He's got 3 for a 12-dart leg.
96.
And to win a 5th consecutive leg for what has been a very controlled and measured Ooh, just the wrong side of the wire. Well, he is going to allow Johnson back to the board. Interesting.
85. Darren, you're in
Well, Johnson may only get a dart at the bullseye. It remains to be seen. He'll take aim at treble 17, and he lands it, so it's 2 darts at double 16 to stay alive. Dynamite!
Darren Johnson. For James to throw first.
Keeps his perfect record on the doubles.
Well, he may yet come back tomorrow. It's not a done deal
100.
just yet. And we do know James Wade can occasionally go off the boil when he thinks that he's in control. He's got a game won. Sometimes
60.
he can the intensity level drops, and he just sort of plods along and then he needs a wake-up call later in the game when it is getting close. He goes, oh, hang on, I've got to put in a good leg.
I was going to say, what normally happens is he does drop off
100.
and then suddenly refocuses and smashes in a 12-darter and slams the door shut in his opponent's face.
100.
One of the famous 5 on the European Tour. James Wade, we mentioned in a commentary, I think yesterday, that only 5 players have
60.
won more than one of these European Tour titles, and James Wade is in good company with Kim Huybrechts, Michael Smith, Philip Howard Taylor, and of course Michael van Gerwen.
140.
Yep. One in Gibraltar. That was a victory that was very significant in James Wade's career, as it was his first one since returning from
140.
very significant troubles with mental health and all sorts of stuff. Convinced himself that he could win tournaments again. Very shortly afterwards, he went on to claim the Masters title, his 7th major title in the PDC. And ever since then, he's been back to being at the very elite of the game. Treble 19. Oh.
53.
Well, Darren Johnson hasn't missed a double yet, Dan, so it should go 5-3 if he carries. Well, it will go 5-3 if he carries on that trend, unless somehow manages not to leave one.
He's left it. And he's hit it.
Charge in the 8th leg.
And it's another break. And 5-3, throwing to make it 5-4. Not missed a dart at a double.
Game on.
And James Wade, he won't be panicking. He never tends to panic, Wade. I'm struggling to think of a time when he has panicked. He has been on stage where he's been unhappy and games have just gone because he's not been in the right mental space. But I would never consider him as being a panicker.
Well, not on the surface, but he will tell you. I've heard him many a time say that he's like a duck. I think you mean a swan would be a better metaphor. He says that he's
calm on the
calm
outside and furiously paddling underneath the water.
Yeah, I mean, he didn't put it quite as eloquently as you did, Dan, but he might be panicking now.
180.
I think there's a bit of him that quite enjoys these sort of games. He likes getting in a battle. It keeps him interested. He
140.
gets bored winning games 6-0, 6-1, so he tends not to. Now, ultimately, he should be excited about thrashing people all over the hockey and winning 6-0, because if you let people get close, occasionally you'll pay the price, because they'll nip in front of you and grab the win.
There's nothing wrong with this from Darren Johnson. 41 left after 9 darts.
100.
Wade is on the finish, just to plant a little bit of pressure, but Johnson's doubling has been perfect so far. Will he ever miss?
To the 9th flag, Darren Johnson. 10th flag, James to throw first.
Well, it's his second 11 darter of the match, and all of a sudden this becomes a massively important leg, and this is also where you would expect James Wade to put in a belter.
81.
And after the first dart, I thought he was going to fill it up. He's only scored another 21 points with his next 2, and Darren Johnson has got a chance. And look at this, 101 average, plays 101 average.
60.
And those 2 treble visits from Johnson, that's big stuff.
I tell you what, that list of names that you reeled off earlier, Dan, as Wade fires in. His 4th match, and ups his average to 103. He reeled them off himself, Darren Johnson, in his interview yesterday with Elmar after the game.
140.
Asked him about his confidence. He said, well, I've beaten Chisnell, Barney, Van der Pass and Van Gerwen. I know I can beat these players. And he beat them all in the same tournament, in the same day. So he's
60.
not going to think...
I can't do this.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, now then. Oh, my word. Darren Johnson.
Delicious darts. from the man nicknamed Dynamite.
Well, Wade, ton 40 will leave him tops, and that's what he's going to leave for the match.
140.
But Johnson, that superb 177 visit, is giving him a chance, and what an opportunity for Darren Johnson. Needs to find treble 18 and bullseye, doesn't do it, and that means James Wade is going to get 3 darts for the match, looking at tops and then maybe 10s.
Well, it is double 10 for James Wade. He's pinned it a few times already, but he's missed it now. And Darren Johnson, who has never failed on the outer ring in this contest, wants 68 to force a last leg shootout.
He has not missed a dart at double so far in this match. He can't afford to miss this here, but finally he does miss one. And he has handed Wade more match darts. Dynamite Darren Johnson within a whisker of taking us to a deciding leg, one in which he would have the throw. And James Wade is going to let him have another go.
Low score. Darren, you require 16.
The last dart flew into the double 5 that he was aiming for with the previous 2. It means he busted his score and will return if Johnson misses. He's missed twice. He can't afford to miss thrice, and he doesn't. Here we go then. Well, it was all going Wade's way. A 5-1 lead in this match.
11 from the final leg, Darren.
And now Darren Johnson
Game on.
will throw for a place in the last 16.
Well, it looked as if it was going to be one of those typical James Wade performances where he establishes his authority, goes off for a bit of a snooze, and then it's all right because when the really important leg comes round, he'll put in a leg of 15 darts or fewer, get the job done, and that's that. But he missed match darts, 5 match darts missed by James Wade, and now there is no margin for error. This has to be
85.
a top quality deciding leg from James Wade. He is one of the best players in the world at producing when it really matters, but Darren Johnson is the man with all the momentum here.
And the 2,500 fans in the crowd have just, well, they're captivated by this, aren't they? The volume level has just been reduced
60
to near silence as they ponder which one of these two is going to book their place in the final day of action. A really exciting encounter.
56.
It all looked like it was going swimmingly for James Wade, but Johnson had other ideas, and it's still finally poised. Is this the moment where James Wade makes his move?
180.
5 180s in 10.5 legs of darts. James Wade still not down to a finish just yet. Darren Johnson should get down to one and done.
95.
Wade probably still the narrow favourite. I think he is now.
100.
Well,
You require
what a way
150.
this would be to win on the big stage, and it's not going to happen in this visit, but James Wade may only get 1 dart at double. He's missed 5 match
60.
darts already. Can he finally get the job done this time?
Only going to be 1 dart. He's missed 5 for the match already, James Wade. Make that 6. Yanks it down. Johnson, 90 for the match. He was 5-1 down, the veteran from Yorkshire. Has got 2 match darts at double 15. And does not need the second. A quite astonishing comeback for Darren Johnson. He is through to the final day of a European tour for the first time in his career. It has been a stunning couple of weeks for the man from Mexborough. He has dumped out the world number 5 and 2-time Euro Tour winner, and it is Darren Johnson who will face Ian the Diamond White for a place in the quarter-finals. Coming up now, it is Dave Chisnell, the big scoring Premier League star, against Dimitri Vandenberg, who's in some red-hot form himself, the young Belgian. But drink this in, Darren Johnson. What a display, what a comeback, what a result.
Dann doch noch mit 6-5. Und James Wade ist schneller von der Bühne, als du denken kannst. Dynamite. Darren Johnson spielt zurzeit die Dart seines Lebens. Darren, when James was up 5-1, I was really sure that he will win that match.
When you're from Yorkshire, you never ever give up. Never give in. Never give up.
Where was the point where you thought, okay, I can win that match?
First leg.
But even though when he was up 5-1, there was no point where you thought, okay, now I have a chance. When he missed all his match starts.
Listen, he's got 3 darts, I've got 3 darts. It's a simple game.
Yeah. Is reaching the final on the Pro Tour event, was it important to win such a match now, to get the self-confidence from there?
Massively important. I'm confident, I'm playing good. I don't care who I play. I know my best game is a match for anybody in the world.
So, I'm really looking forward to see you tomorrow again. Let's see what can happen here.
Let's see, we never know. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Darren.